Hi, welcome to Speak the Truth 2.0. Glad that you have taken time out of your day to join us. Like, if you look at the title, Elon Musk, the good, the bad, the ugly. So, we have a lot to cover about Elon Musk. It's like, I don't know, I didn't see this coming when Elon was campaigning for President Trump, when he was, in Pennsylvania. I didn't know that he would have so much influence and so much power. It appears that he has more power than even the vice president. So we're going to dive into the good, the bad, the ugly regarding Elon Musk. You have a lot of people, he has a lot of people upset. A lot of people don't understand what's going on. But we're going to touch on everything. But, we want to just look at it from the government perspective. And if people were working for companies like Amazon or other companies outside the government, are they asked to give an account of their work week? Are they made to? But I don't think that they're made to give an account. And if you don't give an account, then it's a possibility that you will be fired. I don't think it's been that deep, but I do know that there are different jobs that require their employees to give an account of the job performance of each and every week. I was reading that somebody said they had to do that for like 5 years. Each week they gave an account. So I don't know if Elon is way over the top, or if he's in the middle, or is this too much to ask of people. But I do believe that there should be, nothing is cut and dry. That there are people that might be in the hospital, people are dealing with personal issues that might not be able to respond, people might be sick. So there are other reasons. There should be some exceptions, but I don't know if he has the authority to say that if you don't report, it's like if you don't report to him, irregardless of the bosses of these agencies, then he personally can let people go. So anyway, we're going to look into all of that. And Elon is becoming bigger than life right now. I think we're talking about him just as much as President Trump. It's like they're running neck and neck. We don't even hear from JD Vance. I mean, he's there somewhere, but Elon Musk has taken to me a larger role right now, it appears, than even the Vice President of the United States. And we elected him into office. Hi. So it's a lot that's going on, but like we can do days of Elon Musk, and I don't know if he's understanding from a federal position. He's used to dealing just with employees that he can just fire, but federal employees have unions that have fought for living wage jobs. And if you get rid of hundreds of thousands of people, you're going to affect hundreds and thousands of taxpayers. You're going to affect the economy. And then you have people, it's not even just the income, but these jobs come with health insurance, they come with. Oh, I did it. Sorry about that, you guys. We froze up. Oh, I did it. Sorry about that, you guys. We froze up. Elon, he gave a deadline. And so that if people don't respond by 11:59 tonight, they're in jeopardy of losing their jobs. And you have to look at it like, I would feel some type of way. Like, am I supposed to report to my manager, my area coordinator, my supervisor? Why am I responding to someone that wasn't even elected? Like, does he hold the highest office over the Pentagon, the FBI? Because they're telling their people don't respond to the email. So it's kind of like, do they have a right not to respond, but everybody else has to respond? So there's a lot of confusion that's going on. And I think there needs to be a lot more clarity instead of just trying to get rid of people and not looking at what they're bringing to the table. I think it takes more time than this, personally. So anyway, we're going to look into this. We're going to get started. Want more people to come on, but it's a lot to cover. And so we're going to go right at it.
Standoff in Washington over Elon Musk's ultimatum, demanding that 2 million federal employees explain what they accomplished last week. Senior political correspondent Rachel Scott at the White House, and Rachel, Musk is also sparking fears that if employees don't respond, they're going to lose their jobs.
Yeah, Michael, good morning. That's right. This is a new ultimatum from Elon Musk telling all federal employees
I hope we're
they
getting
must respond to
$5,000.
this email listing their accomplishments
That would be
or resign. It
great.
is now prompting confusion and uncertainty, and this morning some federal agencies are pushing back. This morning, top Trump officials dismissing a new ultimatum from Elon Musk. The billionaire posting on X this weekend that some 2 million federal employees would have to explain what they got done last week, writing failure to respond will be taken as a resignation. Musk insisting he's following instructions from President Trump, who encouraged him to get more aggressive.
And Elon is doing a great job. He's doing a great job.
Within hours, emails started going out, reaching employees across the federal government, from NASA to the State Department, even sitting federal judges. The subject line, "What did you do last week?"
Wow.
Demanding workers reply with 5 bullet points by midnight tonight. But it made no mention of that threat from Musk that they could be at risk of losing their jobs. Top officials scrambled to provide guidance, the president's own cabinet pushing back. Newly confirmed FBI Director Kash Patel telling employees to pause on responding. And the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, writing, "Given the inherently sensitive and classified nature of our work, employees should not respond."
Wow.
The State Department and Pentagon telling employees to hold off too. Some Republicans on Capitol Hill expressing concern.
If I could say one thing to Elon Musk, it's like, please put a dose of compassion in this. These are real people.
Yeah.
These are real lives.
And Republican Senator Lisa Murkowski writing on social media, if Elon Musk truly wants to understand what federal workers accomplished over the past week, he should get to know each department and agency and learn about the jobs he's trying to cut. Voters showing up at town halls in some parts of the country over the last week to confront GOP lawmakers.
In terms of Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. And I would really like to know what you're going to do to protect those programs for your constituents.
Over the weekend, the president posting this meme on social media mocking concerns. The image with a list of what got done last week, followed by bullet points, including cried about Trump, cried about Elon. The largest federal workers union blasting this latest move as unlawful and calling it an attempt to bully the hardworking federal employees that serve our country. For weeks, Musk has boasted about slashing the federal workforce, appearing at a conservative conference with a chainsaw in hand.
The chainsaw for bureaucracy.
Democrats pouncing.
There's no Article 4 in the Constitution that gives Elon Musk that authority.
So just moments ago, Elon Musk posted on social media saying that those who do not take this email seriously will be furthering their careers elsewhere. But all of this really raising questions here about who is calling the shots. Is it Elon Musk sending out these threats on social media, or is it these federal agencies, some of which that are now telling their employees to hold off on responding to that email, George?
So you got to look at like what's going on. That's why I call this the good, the bad, and the ugly. Because first of all, there's a lot of confusion. Like people don't know what to do. They have their agencies telling them, don't respond to him. And then you got Elon Musk say, go ahead and try not responding. You're going to find yourself without a job. So if you was in that situation, I'll even talk to you, Johnny, what would you do? Would you respond to Elon Musk? Like who's running? It's almost like who's running the country. Because they have their own bosses. Like Tulsi said, don't respond. FBI, Kash Patel said he told his people don't respond. So you have different agencies. The Pentagon told their people not to respond. But then Elon Musk is saying, go ahead, try not responding, and you're going to find yourself without a job. So what would you do? You know, what would someone do in this case? Like, would you respond or wouldn't you respond to Elon's threatening email? Because it is a threat. And, you know, I feel for the people in the sense that I think that within 30 days is too much too soon. It's too much too soon because we want Americans to have living wage jobs. We want Americans to have their jobs. We're not looking for Americans to lose their, you know, their way of providing for their families, because when you get rid of hundreds of thousands of jobs, then you're affecting the country, because those are middle class citizens are the taxes that support this country. So I don't know. It's like, what do you do? I think it's a rush thing. I think Elon and them, they have time to look at each agency, find the waste. But just this blank slate, just get rid of everyone, is not working. It's not working. What are you saying? You're not even reading it.
Yeah.
Shaking things up made wonder if this will be the old saying. The person, I wish you would read the person who makes the most has no choice but to do the most. Yeah, it's like crazy. It's a lot going on, and it's going to be a lot of people. And this is just the beginning. That we're far from him scratching the surface. He plans on doing this for 2 years. So if you're looking at now that this has been going on for just 4 weeks and they're just getting started, then I think that they really need to take time and come up with a plan, because it doesn't look like there's a plan. It's just like go in these agencies. We're just going to cut all these jobs without explanations, because they already did that with 200,000 jobs. And now they got rid of nuclear people. They're trying to find them, get them back. They're getting rid of essential workers. And they're finding out there are doctors involved. And people got to understand that a lot of your federal employees, and nobody's been touching on this, they're our vets. A lot of your vets, they continue their service with the government. They're able to transfer their time, their military time, into government positions. And that time is added up with their retirement. So when you're getting rid of these jobs, you're actually terminating some of our vets that work and serve our country. They're losing their jobs as well. So like I had worked for the federal government, that the majority of the people are military. So like even your time clock, everything is in military. You have the same ranks like in the service. So when you get rid of these employees, you're getting rid of a lot of the military. And I don't think that's being brought to the forefront, that they transition into civilian work. They go and they work for the federal government, and that's your military. So I don't believe that it should be just one blank slate that you just go in and you wipe everyone out. It should be based on job performance and the jobs that are needed, because there are jobs that you hear some of the titles is crazy. Like you have someone say here, bird watch. We're getting paid. They're paying millions of dollars to have people doing that. Like we understand that, but when you have jobs that's in the Pentagon, the FBI, and some of these agencies that we need boots on the ground, that I think that he's moving too fast. They're moving too fast with this, and they need to roll it back some and find out, to do it better. But to give people ultimatum, that's why I call this the good, the bad, and the ugly, because there's some good in it because we're finding wasteful spending, but then there's bad because you just can't come after people with just a stroke of the pen, and just they're unemployed today. That means people are going to be losing their mortgages, their cars, their health insurance. They're going to be losing everything. And anyone that doesn't have health insurance, they understand. And Trump, he even doubled down. Trump on Elon Musk's email to the federal workers, like this is like Trump's response to
I
it.
think the DOJ could benefit from our student land communications. There was that email telling employees to do 5 things they've done last week. Agency has then told people to ignore it.
You heard about the last email that was sent, where you wanted to know what you did this week? You know why you wanted that, by the way? I thought it was great, because we have people that don't show up to work and nobody even knows if they work for the government. So by asking the question, tell us what you did this week, what he's doing is saying, are you actually working? And then if you don't answer, like you're sort of semi-fired or you're fired, because
Is
a lot of people
semi-fired or fired, which is it?
exist. They're trying to, but that's how badly various parts of our government were run by, and especially by this last group. So what they're doing is they're trying to find out who's working for the government. Are we paying other people that aren't working? And where is all that? Where's the money going? We have found hundreds of billions of dollars of fraud so far, and we've just started. We're actually going to Fort Knox to see if the gold is there.
Wow.
Maybe somebody stole the gold. tons of go. So I think it was actually, there was a lot of genius in sending it. We're trying to find out if people are working. And so we're sending a letter to people, please tell us what you did last week. If people don't respond, it's very possible that there is no such person or they're not working.
Some of the agency has instructed their employees not to respond. They're waiting
Yeah,
for
they
the
have.
but
Then what?
Please said failure to respond will be taken as a resignation. So there's been a disconnect in the communications.
Yeah.
Are you concerned now about
Only, no. That was done in a friendly manner. Only things such as perhaps Marco at State Department where they have very confidential things, or the FBI where they're working on confidential things. And they don't mean that in any way combatively with Elon. They're just saying there are some people that you don't want to really have them tell you what they're working on last week. But other than that, I think everyone thought it was a pretty ingenious idea. We have to find out where these people are. Who are they? And we said, if you don't respond, we assume you're not around.
that whole set?
You know what? See, the thing about it, I believe that the intent is right, but the rollout is wrong. There's a certain way that you got to roll this out because you're just letting people go that are needed, and then you got to go back and try to find these people and rehire them. And there's a lot of confusion because you have the Pentagon, you have the FBI, you have Tulsi, you have different people telling their employees to ignore the email. So since we have heads of agencies like the FBI, Kash Patel, and you have, people, head of the Pentagon and things like that, it seemed like that they should delegate it to the leaders. They should know where the waste is. They should know which employees are needed and which employees aren't needed. Any supervisor or manager, they know the people that come to work. They know the people that are working hard. I think that in that case, that they would be better off allowing management to make those determinations. They need to allow management to make those determinations and allow them to participate in. But Elon is not there. He never worked. He haven't received federal funds, but he never worked for the federal government. So he doesn't know how they operate. But there is chain of command in the federal government, just like the service. It's chain of command. You have your supervisors, your managers, your area coordinators. It goes up in rank. So there's rank in the federal government. So I think that he should delegate because they are actually doing the job. Like you can't go to Tesla and tell they can't go there and so just fire everyone in Tesla. They're not needed. So Elon would know who needs to be fired. I couldn't go in there and say, oh, y'all need to wipe out Tesla. So, but I'm with Trump and Elon on wasteful spending. But I believe this rollout is what's causing a problem. And Trump's approval rating is dropping because of it. Like Americans want them to be exposed because there's so much corruption, but you have to do it in decency and in order. And giving people confusion, either you answer the emails, just let it, if that's what you want. You can't have other agencies and then their superior management is saying, don't listen to Elon. Don't listen to him. So, it's not being rolled out properly. And you have federal employees, they're on the rampage.
For saying in a lawsuit today that Elon Musk has violated the law with his weekend demand that employees explain their accomplishments or risk being fired. Now, this is an updated lawsuit which was filed in federal court in California. It was provided to the Associated Press. The lawsuit is trying to block mass layoffs pursued by Musk and President Trump, including any connected to the email distributed by the Office of Personnel Management on Saturday. The office, which functions as a human resources agency for the federal government, said employees needed to detail 5 things that they did last week by the end of the day today. stating, quote, no OMP rule, regulation, policy, or program has ever in United States history purported to require all federal workers to submit reports to OPM. This was filed on behalf of unions, businesses, and veterans and conservation groups, calling the threat of mass firings, quote, one of the most massive employment frauds in the history of this country, end quote. Now, Musk is leading President Trump's efforts to overhaul and downsize the federal government. He has continued to call on federal workers this morning, even as there has been confusion throughout the administration, and even having some top officials telling federal employees not to comply with this email request. Elon Musk posting early this morning on X saying, quote, those who do not take this email seriously will soon be furthering their career elsewhere. He has also supported President Trump's demand for employees to stop working remotely, also posting onto X, quote, starting this week, those who still fail to return to office will be placed on administrative leave. Musk also followed up by saying, quote, all federal employees will shortly receive an email requesting to understand what they got done last week, claiming that a failure to respond will be taken as a resignation. The Office of Personnel Management sent out its own request afterwards, saying, quote, please reply to this email with approximately 5 bullets of what you accomplished last week and CC your manager, although that message said nothing about the potential for employees to get fired for non-compliance. The deadline is listed as 11:59 p.m. tonight. Now, there have been some pushback from key U.S. agencies, including the FBI, State Department, Homeland Security, and the Pentagon. All of these agencies have instructed their employees not to respond. Lawmakers in both parties say that Musk's mandate could be illegal, and unions have threatened to sue. So we did
see. That's what that's what the confusion is. That these federal employees are represented by unions, and I don't know about. They really need to have. They need to have a breaking news, or they need to have him, speak to the people, Elon or someone, because there's too much confusion. You have too many agencies telling them to ignore Elon's email, and then the people that would comply, they're telling them not to, and then people are confused. There's too much confusion that's going on, and you need to have real leadership. You can't have them saying one thing and then other people saying something else. So I think that we got a whole lot of corruption in the government, that they could have rolled this out a lot slower, allow people who are actually doing the job. They have managers, they have supervisors, they have people in authority that are working in these positions, and they know the departments that are needed. They know the departments that aren't needed. They know the employees who come to work. They know the employees who don't come to work. They're there. But everybody's being affected in one big scoop. And it is, that's not how you do it. That's not how you do it. It's not a big rush. This has been going on forever. So I think that they're going to have to look at this a different way, because now is like a big deal because the way that it's happening. Fake government agency. Yeah. It's like, it's so much that's going on. And it's so much, like, imagine getting an email. Is anybody on here that's a government employee or knows someone that works for the government that are required to respond to the email? That would be interesting to see, like, are you responding to Elon's email, or are you being told not to respond to the email? That's like a great question. Like, what are the people that are actually being affected? What are you doing? What are they doing tonight? You think most of them are going to respond, or are they going to listen to their bosses and not respond to Elon?
Listen to their bosses.
Yeah, I think that's what they're going to do too. I think a lot of them are going to listen to their bosses, and they're not going to respond to Elon. They're going to do what their bosses, because Elon didn't hire them. Elon is not a government per se employee. They were never hired by Elon.
Someone says sending love to you and your family.
Oh, thank you. We send love back to you and your family as well. Yeah, the thing about it, and they have to look at it, Elon never hired any of these people. They don't work for Tesla. They're not part of his corporations. But he's actually firing people from the government that he didn't hire. So that's why these lawsuits and different things are going on, because he's overriding per se his authority, you know.
Pon said,
Huh?
Pon said, you fired people that protect and maintain our nukes, fired the people of the government that sent to help, then checking out and realize and hiring them back. Crazy all the way around.
And yeah, they're trying to find these people emails because they feel like, you're right, they fired the people that, you know, supposed to take care of the nukes. And now they say they don't even have all their emails. They're trying to find them to rehire them. So that's why I said that it's too much of a rush, that they need to talk to the heads of these departments and these federal positions that know their employees, know the job, know what's going on, before they just, you know, just fire everyone. And then they realize, just like they had to stop him from trying to fire the people from the FBI. That's what, you know, Patel is doing. They have to stop him from firing the people from the Pentagon. That's why they're telling them not to respond. Because if he does it like that, you're going to get rid of people that are actually needed in these positions, that actually do their job. And they can't just say that because you work for the government, these people don't work. You know, that they're not working. They do work. You always, any job, you have people that come in and you know who they are. They don't come to work, you know, job to work. They just come to the job to do as little work as possible. But that's not everyone. Some people actually like their jobs. Some people actually have pride and they take, you know, dignity in doing their jobs. So, you know, so now you got all this protesting going on.
I think I probably don't listen to rap music, and you're right. But I heard about this slogan in a podcast, and I thought that is the right idea.
Oh, Kendrick Lamar.
Elon Musk is not like us. That's what they had put up. You know, so that was like the backlash, you know, of his email. But the thing about it is that people have had enough already, and we're just getting started. I can't imagine Trump only been in office for 4 weeks. This is like supposed to be a 2-year, I don't know what you want to call his job, Elon's job, but he said that he would do this for 2 years. If this is your rollout, what it's going to look like in 2 years if people are being affected in this way? Because when Trump got elected, it's only been 4 weeks. I was not looking for Americans to lose their jobs. I didn't see that coming, and not as fast as it's coming. I knew they was going to trim the fat, but you could fire every federal employee, and it's not going to make a dent in the debt, the $34 trillion debt. So it has to come from other sources. It's not going to have an impact like that. Let's see what's going on.
After issuing an ultimatum to federal employees over the weekend. It comes as several top-level officers are removed at the Pentagon, including the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff.
Don't forget to hit the like, share,
NBC's Jay Gray has the
subscribe.
latest from Washington this morning.
I must sit on the beat.
Hey there, good morning, Caleb. Good morning, Megan. Look, the only thing we know for sure right now is that President Trump continues to be all in on his plan to pare down the federal government. But this morning, the White House appears to be getting at least a bit of pushback on that plan from inside the administration. This morning, millions of federal workers wake up unsure if they'll have a job by the end of the week. President Trump pressing ahead with his aggressive government overhaul, delivering pink slips to employees across at least 18 departments and agencies.
We're removing all of the unnecessary, incompetent, and corrupt bureaucrats from the federal workforce.
Around 1,600 USAID employees laid off late Sunday. A majority of the remaining staff placed on administrative leave.
Waste is pretty much everywhere. People ask, like, how can you find waste in DC?
Billionaire Elon Musk, head of the administration's self-proclaimed Department of Government Efficiency, emailing millions of federal workers over the weekend, asking them to list 5 bullet points outlining what they accomplished last week. Adding on social media, failure to respond before midnight tonight will be taken as a resignation.
What Donald Trump is doing is illegal, It's violative of our Constitution and it has to be stopped.
That message from Democrats echoed in weekend town hall meetings across the country.
When are you going to wrest control as the Congress back from the executive and stop hurting your constituents?
Pushback also coming from inside the administration. The FBI, State Department, National Institutes of Health, Defense Department, and NSA telling employees to pause on responding or not respond at all to the proof of performance email.
Now, we should point out other agencies, including Health and Human Services and the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, have asked employees to respond by tonight's deadline.
Now they know how the
The
rest
Bureau
of us
of
feel.
Prisons is asking for guidance before advising employees about how to move forward here. That's the latest from Washington. I'm Jay Gray, WCNC.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know, a lot of people aren't, I guess, used to this and what's going on. And I just think that there should be a better way of doing this. And Elon is looking at people like they are just numbers. He's not looking at that this is actually affecting families, that this is actually affecting children, and it's affecting people's livelihoods. What about the people that had 10 more years to retire? Or people that was close to retirement that they just lost their job. Imagine working for 25, 30 years and you still don't have the age to retire, and now you no longer have your job. You didn't even see this coming. So it's affecting people in a lot of ways. And everyone wants to make, well, if you voted for Trump, you want to make America better again. You want to make it better than what it was. Because what was going on, the former administration, they were destroying this country. They had to go. They had to go. And there is, all of them, how come the Congress people, how did the Congress people gain so much wealth? Like even Jasmine Crockett talking about she got $9 million. How are these people, even Biden, he was making $200,000 a year or $250,000, whatever they pay the president of the United States. How come now that he has $22 million thanks to his son? And Nancy Pelosi is a multimillionaire. All of them become extremely rich. But the federal employees, they're not used to what's going on, but that's not going to make the dent in the debt like the corruption that they're going to find. And this is Trump's first 100 days.
Sent to millions. It happened Saturday. Here's what it asks. What did you do last week? The email demands employees list 5 things that they accomplished. The directive, previewed in a post by Elon Musk on X, threatens, quote, failure to respond will be taken as a resignation, close quote. And by the way, there's a deadline, a ticking clock here, midnight tonight. So here's the fallout. 5 agencies encouraging employees not to respond. The Department of Defense, the FBI, and the Department of National Intelligence among them. Those are some heavy hitter organizations there on your screen. So let's go live to CBS News White House reporter Olivia Rinaldi. All right, so Olivia, this is so confusing at this hour because bosses are saying to ignore. Lawyers are lawyering. How is this playing out today in D.C.?
Hey Reed, it's good to be with you. The 6 words that really sent shockwaves across the federal government. What did you do last week? Elon Musk now asking people to reply to this email, 5 bullet points of something they did last week, what they accomplished. And if they don't reply by 5 p.m. today, that's considered their resignation. We're starting to see, though, some pushback from secretaries across the government. You named a few there. Let me walk you through a little bit more detail there. Tulsi Gabbard, the director of national intelligence, told her employees not to respond because some of the work they do, most of the work they do, is critical and highly classified. Probably not something you should be responding to on an email thread about. The Undersecretary of Defense for Personnel Readiness at the Pentagon told employees, quote, when and if required, the department will coordinate responses to the email you've received from OPM. But for now, please pause any response to the OPM email titled, what did you do last week? So now this is some of the pushback we're seeing from federal agencies, secretaries, undersecretaries across the government against Elon Musk and Doge. But it's also raising a lot of questions, namely among them security. If you have 2.3 million federal employees writing back on an email chain about what they did last week.
Johnny. How
It
are
can
you
almost
doing?
amount to a national security issue, laying out what all federal employees across the government are doing. So important to note there, but also questions of who will be combing through these emails to see what they accomplished last week. What is the threshold for adequate work when responding to this email? What if someone replied and didn't list out what they did? It wasn't 5 things that they listed out. A lot of questions about what this actually means, especially for a federal workforce of the scale I mentioned, 2.3 million people. This isn't a private company, this is the government. So it'll be interesting to see what's actually the fallout and the impact from not answering this email or answering it incorrectly.
Can't wait to see
and
that.
a reminder, we're talking about a non-elected official on his own platform that generates income telling federal workers, government employees, that this will be seen as a resignation if they don't respond. But I have to ask, despite the pushback, we are seeing some fall in line. Let's take, for example, Sean Duffy. Of course, we know he's the transportation secretary. He posted on that very social media platform his answer. What did he say? What did you see?
Yeah, there's one cabinet secretary that is complying. It is Sean Duffy with the Department of Transportation. Let's walk through what he said on that post. The 5 things he says he did last week. Number 1, quoting here, paraphrasing, he said he terminated congestion pricing in New York. 2, he launched an investigation into California's high-speed rail project that cost several $1 billion over a number of years. 3, he said he saved $10 million a year by eliminating, quote, redundant and outdated landlines, end quote. He also visited the Air Traffic Control Command Center in Virginia to talk about the critical tech upgrades there and why we would need to make our air traffic control system the envy of the world. And 5, he said he went out to Burbank, California to tour a control tower out there and hear from those controllers about how to improve conditions and retain and recruit controllers. I should note, though, that this email was also received by air traffic controllers who voiced concern and confusion about what exactly this meant for them. The union telling their people to pause on replying until they got more clarity from the Department of Transportation about what exactly this meant. This is also a workforce that works usually about 6 days a week on antiquated technology and is often very focused on landing planes and the safety around that. Now we are hearing from the Department of Transportation that they are required to answer this email and justify what they accomplished last week, being airline safety professionals. So this now loops in folks like them who are doing critical work, who are now having to explain on this email exactly what they do.
And it's only Monday. Got to ask you about this. Elon Musk, he also had another warning for federal employees about returning to office. What was that warning?
Yes, this was another post on X that came out. Elon Musk said that government workers will be placed on administrative leave if they don't return to work this week. This is, of course, an executive order that Trump had signed on his first days in office. Musk says that they were given a month warning, and if they don't come back, they are placed on administrative leave. We know that a lot of workers have been coming back into the office. It's been quite congested here in DC with some traffic and the metro lines being more full than years previously. But interesting to note that this is coming from Elon Musk, not from the White House directly, but from what is a senior advisor and special government employee making these mandates.
All right, lots to keep track of. Olivia Rinaldi, thank you so much. Always good to talk.
I don't know how people feel about this. I think that's what the main pushback is that Elon is not a government employee, and like, what authority does he have because he didn't hire these people? How is he able sort of to send a threatening email that if you don't respond, then I'm gonna look at that you're resigning. But then I'm gonna reiterate, then they have their bosses telling them not to respond. And then you have some bosses saying they're changing their mind. They're saying, okay, respond. So I think it's too much confusion. I think that Trump needs to probably hold a press conference to clear it up, because they're supposed to respond by 11:59 p.m. tonight. So there's a deadline, and it's tonight. There's a cutoff, there's tonight. And I think that they need to clarify it. And especially say if somebody's in the hospital, they can't respond and they could be losing their job and they're in the hospital, they taking care of sick kids or they sick. There's all kinds of things that goes on in people's lives. So just to say something abruptly and say like in a few days you do this or you're out, and I think that's a lot. That's a lot. And it's not like it can't be done. It's not like it's something that they can't do. Like send an email, hopefully you're somebody that actually work, that you're actually doing your job. So, and there's no way for Elon to know because he's not working in these departments. But like I said, I believe that as a supervisor, as a manager, and has been my positions, I think that boots on the ground knows more about what's going on, and you know where the waste is at. When you go to your job, you know who the workers are. You know what departments or what positions you really don't need. So I think that they should have had a meeting, and he should have did each departments, just like the FBI say, look, don't touch my people. Pentagon, don't touch my people, And I see Johnny, you keep talking about like what were you talking about? The ATF. I think that he's going to get around to the ATF. It's just a matter of time. It's like he's going to go to all the different agencies. But I believe that just the way that he's going about it is the pushback. And it is affecting Trump's approval rating because Trump has like the highest approval rating, and people now, they're not here for it. Because actual Americans, like we were talking about food prices, now they don't have a job. We were complaining about gas prices, the inflation, interest rates, about open borders, illegal immigrants, more being done for them than American citizens. And it looked like the first people on the chopping block are American citizens. So that's kind of like a shot in the arm, even though it's like you have to cut all this wasteful spending in government. But your big money is not going to come from firing these employees. It's not going to make a dent in the. It's not going to make a dent in a $34 trillion deficiency. So, but you have to start somewhere, and I just don't want seeing people. They're going to be really what he's doing. Trump is going to be held responsible for Elon. And nobody voted for Elon. And I know Trump believes he's doing a great job. And he is finding a lot of money, a lot of hidden money, a lot of stuff is going on. But he really needs to roll it back some. What do you think? What's your opinion?
I think Elon needs to stay out of politics. and I don't like that Trump said Elon needs to be more aggressive. Elon needs to take a couple steps back and just work on SpaceX and all that, Tesla and stuff, not make these government choices and decisions when he's not even an official.
Yeah, and that's coming from a young person. Like he's looking at that. Elon is not even. He's not even working for.
Where's JD at? Where's
JD Vance? The vice president. That's why people say that Elon is like the VP. Well, really, they say the president, but he's not. We elected Trump as the president of the United States, and Trump has, appointed him, made up this department, and is allowing him to move the way that he's moving. But I think because it's never been done before, that's why you have to have a slower rollout. I think that they should have all sat at the table with all the heads of the Pentagon, the FBI, the what's Tulsi, wherever she's the head of, all the ATF. You should sit down with all these people, have a meeting so that they can target areas that are unneeded, that's wasteful spending, the departments are useless. That's how it should have been done instead of firing all the people handling the nuclear bombs. Now they had Cash Patel had to tell the freaking FBI not to respond because what? They don't respond. You're going to fire all of them? What about the Pentagon? You're going to fire all of them? It's like, it's too, I don't like confusion. I don't like confusion.
And Tulsi's like, don't respond because they have classified information.
Yeah, Tulsi has classified information. Like the Pentagon does too.
Yeah.
So you just can't have just a broad, slate and, blank slate and you're like, let's just get rid of everyone. And this is like what the Pentagon is saying. and what they're telling their people. And then you have other agencies. Well, why don't they have to comply and we have to comply? So then you get that in. That's why so many lawsuits. And I think a lot of this stuff can be avoided because it needs to be clarity. People need to have clarity. And that's why they're looking at Elon. The good is good that he's doing good, bad, and the ugly. Like people losing their jobs. That's ugly. You know, what's going on? Nobody elected him, but he's having more say than it appears the vice president.
This weekend on Truth Social, quote, Elon is doing a great job, but I would like to see him get more aggressive. Remember, we have a country to save. Elon was quick to respond, saying, "Will do." And now, federal workers have until midnight tomorrow to detail their work from the past week or risk losing their job. But it appears the FBI and the Pentagon will be spared from Musk's order since they conduct their own internal reviews. Okay, so let's get to the discussion. Arthel, could you give me a rundown of what you did last week?
Yeah, we want to know.
Probably not, you know, I mean, so that is tricky, you know, because think about it, if you're doing your job and you get really busy and everything, and so sometimes you do remember, sometimes you don't. But, and then the other thing about this, Tom, is there are people who are on vacation. Yeah. They may not be able to respond, so I'm wondering what's going to happen to them. And listen, if President Trump is telling Elon Musk to get to it and get aggressive about trimming the fat, Elon, come over here and help me trim my fat. It's not
working. I approve of this message. Oh, no. I need a little help, Elon.
He might start doing that next week.
Help me out, brother.
Elon, let's take a look, Kevin. Elon was justifying his order in another tweet. I think we have a full screen of that. Can you guys read that? Where is it here? What is it? Okay, it's in my teleprompter. The reason this matters is that a significant number of people who are supposed to be working for the government are doing so little work that they're not checking their email at all. In some cases, we believe non-existent people or the identities of dead people are being used to collect paychecks. In other words, there is outright fraud. Wow. So this is I guess it's a chance to check on them. And if you go on vacation, Kevin, you got to put that little message in your email.
You know, I swear, I've been working for this company for more than 10 years. I still don't know how to do that. So I just answer my phone wherever I'm on. Listen, I agree with Arthel. If you want to help, you know, trim a little fat, I'm here. I'm here for you. But I think more importantly, what they're really trying to achieve is, I think we all know people who work super hard, are very dedicated and serious about their jobs. And we also know some people who probably aren't giving it their all. And I think what they're attempting to assess is, first of all, are you a real keeper? Are you somebody who's intense about doing your job and making the company better, or in this case, the country? Or perhaps alternatively, are you someone who maybe needs to think about your career choice? And maybe it won't include a future with the government. We'll see.
Yeah, I think it's interesting, Molly, what Elon is doing. I mean, this is a businessman. He's trying to get to Mars. You know, he was really a darling of the left with his, electric car and everything. Yeah. Now he's kind of all in on this Trump thing, and Trump wants him to be more aggressive. He wants him to be more like him.
Which is one of those things where people are throwing all their hate at Elon, but really this message is coming from the top, and Elon is immediately responding so fast that he's shooting out an email that everybody else has to send an email back by Monday, which is a wild thing to do, I think, on a weekend. You know, I don't know that all federal employees are expected to check their emails all weekend long. We, of course, as journalists and looking at breaking news, are very used to looking at emails and checking things all weekend long. I don't know that every government worker, depending on what position they're in, checks an email on Saturday and would be ready to respond by a given time with a looming threat by Monday. But it's interesting, there's actually quite a bit of internal pushback within the federal government on this. From the unions, of course, the federal workers unions are pushing back, but also federal departments, agencies, the Department of Defense telling employees that they're reviewing performance of its personnel. I mean, some of these agencies are saying you don't need to respond to Elon, to this email rather, I guess specifically. So I think there'll be a lot of confusion from federal employees who got this email as to whether or not they have to respond to it. And then what happens if they don't? I don't know. It's very interesting. And this is maybe one of those things where that might also be walked back. Some of the firings have been walked back. Some of the layoffs have been walked back. So we'll see.
Well, if you really want to get Elon's attention, tweet something, because he's answering this one on Twitter.
You know, that's they're right. And that was like my sentiments about this, is that, you know, is too much confusion. Like, we want to trim the fat. The order's coming from the top. It's coming from Trump, but it's not being done in decency and in order. People are confused what to do, what not to do, because there's too many people that are black veterans who are, yay, hey. There's too many people that are giving too many directions. You know, they need one concrete plan, let people know what to do and what not to do, because you're going to have people that might be let go because they were following what their immediate, you know, management was telling them to do. They're listening to the job. The job says not to, Elon says you must. But they say don't respond. So people might be caught in the crossfires that want to comply, that are working hard, but they're being given two different directives. And then you'll have people that saying, well, if 5 other agencies don't have, they're saying they don't have to comply, why do we have to comply? We all should be made to do, you know, to comply. So people are going to have pushback no matter how you look at it. It's going to be pushback. And that's why I think that they should have all sat at the table, and they should have had all the heads of each agency, whether it was the FBI, the Pentagon, or whatever agency that they are requiring to respond to the email, to have something that then they could have put it out, and then the people would know what to do. Because if you're not working and you can't explain that you do your job, you know, like if you're working your job, like at my job, it's like I felt like I didn't have time to take a break or lunch because we would be so busy. So you should be able to explain that you're working, you know. And my job, like they can tell, like by our computers, by our clocks, if you are working. So there are ways to tell if an employee is working, that they should be able to run down what they are doing. But all this, you know, information is not being clarified, like what to do and what not to do. How do you feel about if you were in their shoes? And how do you guys feel? Are any of you government employees? Are you required to comply to Elon by 11:59 tonight? Do you have a family member that has talked about it and they are required to respond to Elon's email by tonight? If not, they will lose their jobs. Like, are you being affected by what is going on in the federal government as far as jobs? He is the law. Either way, it's bad situation, but from experience, listen to the higher authority. You gotta listen. You know, it's like crazy. I know a postal worker that's going through this. My family members are government employees, and they think it's complete, you know, BS. They voted for Trump too. Leave the VA alone. And see, that's what a lot of Americans don't understand, is that a lot of your vets and a lot of your government employees were military. You know, they fought in our military, they're soldiers, you know, and they transitioned to the federal jobs because they're able to transition their leave, their sick time, their retirement. They're able to just transition into a federal job. And they're able to keep their seniority. When they go into a federal job, they have seniority over somebody else. Somebody else can start the same time, have the same seniority date, but what they would do, they'll take the military and they will count their military time, which would put them over everyone else that had just started. So a lot of these people that are losing jobs are our vets that have fought to keep us safe and to protect us. So I don't want to see any vets actually losing their jobs. You know, we owe that to them. But the rest of the ones that's sleeping on the job, oh well, you know, some of these people do need to go. Yeah, he was talking about doing something with the post office, but the post office is not, it's self-supporting. The post office makes their money off of selling stamps and their products. It's self-supporting. It's a service to the people. When Benjamin Franklin started the post office, it was started as a service to the people. This is giving back to the people. And that's why they haven't touched the post office. But they did fire the, the Postmaster General, DeVoy, just lost his job. So Trump wants to do something with that. But because this is Trump response. This is what Trump had to say today about Elon.
Communications. There was that email telling employees to do 5 things that they've done last week. Agency has then told people to ignore it.
You're talking about the last email that was sent, where you wanted to know what you did this week. You know why you wanted that, by the way? I thought it was great. Because we have people that don't show up to work and nobody even knows that they work for the government. So by asking the question, tell us what you did this week, what he's doing is saying, are you actually working? And then if you don't answer, like you're sort of semi-fired or you're fired, because a lot of people are not answering because they don't even exist. They're trying to, that's how badly various parts of our government were run by, and especially by this last group. So what they're doing is they're trying to find out who's working for the government. Are we paying other people that aren't working? And where is all this? Where's the money going? We have found hundreds of billions of dollars of fraud so far, and we've just started. We're actually going to Fort Knox to see if the gold is there, because maybe somebody stole the gold, tons of gold. So I think it was actually, there was a lot of genius in sending it. We're trying to find out if people are working. And so we're sending a letter to people, please tell us what you did last week. If people don't respond, it's very possible that there is no such person or they're not working.
Some of the agency has instructed their employees not to respond as they're waiting on further guidance, but Elon Musk's tweet said failure to respond would be taken as a resignation. So there's been a disconnect in the communications.
Yeah.
Are you concerned at all about
Only, no. That was done in a friendly manner. Only things such as perhaps Marco at State Department where they have very confidential things, or the FBI where they're working on confidential things. And they don't mean that in any way combatively with Elon. They're just saying there are some people that you don't want to really have them tell you what they're working on last week. But other than that, I think everyone thought it was a pretty ingenious idea. We have to find out where these people are. Who are they? And we said if you don't respond, we assume you're not around.
And that holds, that stands.
And you're not getting paid anymore, too. So, we're doing a real job. And
I don't know. I don't know. Like I see people talking about the Postal Service. No, the Postal Service wasn't started by Benjamin Franklin. He was the first Postmaster General. And Benjamin Franklin had a lot to do with, I guess, the zones that people have, like the zip codes, that he actually went out and he actually measured like distances and all that kind of stuff. And he used to have like a paper or magazine. And I guess the give back was that you have the delivery and you get this magazine or whatever from Benjamin Franklin. But he was the very first Postmaster General. And that's what he's known for. But the post office is in your Constitution. Hi, thank you.
Thank you.
Why aren't prices down? Yeah, we'll get to that. Benjamin Franklin, I just want to finish with him. Benjamin Franklin was the first Postmaster General, and he had the task of getting the mail, I guess, to the colonies or whatever. And the post office is in the Constitution. It's actually in your Constitution about the Postal Service. That is in the Constitution. And that's a service to the American people. That's why just with that stamp that you buy, the paychecks for postal employees does not come from the federal government. It comes from you purchasing that stamp. And that's a service. The post office is supposed to just break even. It's not for profit. Like you can't, now they have like FedEx, you have UPS. They charge you like 3 times more than the postal service. And because they are private companies and they are for profit. They're for profit. That's why they don't deliver to every address. The Postal Service is required by law to deliver to every address. They even have a donkey, I heard, that goes to Death Valley to deliver the mail. And some people, they live in rural areas and places where the only way they can have delivery of goods is through the Postal Service, because UPS, FedEx, and all those type of other courier companies, they're not going to go in those places because they're not going to make money. But that one stamp is all you're paying, and you're guaranteed 6 days a week delivery to your door through rain, sleet, snow, through all types of weather. Those letter carriers are out there and they are delivering your mail. And the only thing that it costs you is the cost of a stamp. So it's not funded by the government. Your postal service is not taking any taxpayers' money. And
someone said, what you want instant gratification.
I don't know what they mean.
Yeah.
Are they talking to me? What you want instant gratification? Oh, they might be talking to someone. Yeah, so there's different agencies. They say, hey, Elijah.
Hello.
Blessings. Yeah, there's different organizations out here that are government organizations. I don't know what he plans to do with the Postal Service. Trump is all about art of the deal. Trump wants to make money. The Postal Service could be making billions of dollars. But because they are a service to the American people is why prices to have your mail delivery, your parcels delivery, your letters delivered don't cost you more than a stamp. You don't get a bill from the Postal Service each week because of your mail delivery. There's no billing. And when you go into a post office, so that you can confirm what I'm saying, when you buy your stamps or buy any product from the Postal Service, there is no sales tax. There's no tax on any of your products. None of your products, none of your stamps, none of your, like if you buy whatever they sell in there, there's bubble wrap or whatever it is, there's no tax on anything. You could spend $1,000 in the post office and you will get zero tax on it.
Someone said Trump promised us prices will be down day one.
Yeah, well, that's not a reality because it took Biden 4 years to get it to where it's at. So if you are an adult, you know that no one can undo. He's done a lot, though. You got to give the man credit. He's already trying to end the war in Gaza. He already had prisoners coming home. There's something that Biden didn't do. He's even trying to get back those billions. How many billions of dollars of equipment we left in Afghanistan? What was it, 87 billion or what was it?
It was high up there.
It was like billions of dollars, and then life was lost. Trump is trying to get back from these companies that we're always shelling out money, just like to Ukraine, just like to Canada, and we get nothing. And we were paying the Taliban millions of dollars. I mean, so the stuff that they're finding out is just incredible. It's incredible. But I think what's taking the front page is what Elon is doing in regards to, coming after these federal jobs. I believe that what he should just continue to do is find all this wasteful spending, stop the money to the Taliban and all this other stuff that's been going on, and then, set up a committee to have these people that know these jobs that are in authority, that they come to the table and they can tell them what departments are needed and what departments aren't. Because what's happening, they're letting go of people that they need to rehire. So that's what's going on. So it's not that simple. It's not that simple. It's not that simple. And now
Carlos, I made $200,000 at 16.
What they say?
They're saying, how old am I? Why am I not working?
You're in college. You're a college student.
Yeah. I've made tons of money online.
Yeah. You're a college student. So that's what's going on. There's a lot going on. And like the pain, it hurts everyone because no one else has been in government that has tried to reduce the debt.
Carlos, are you a legal citizen? And someone said Trump has literally golfed for a third of his term so far. Literally, how much are eggs?
That was Biden. You need to ask Biden. They cause all this inflation in the economy and everything. But you know what? It's amazing. Hold everyone accountable. There's no way that the damage that they have done is going to be, that they're going to be undo it overnight. Everything takes time, but this administration had hit the ground running, and that's a fact. That's a fact. You can't deny that. We didn't even see Biden. Biden was on vacation 40% of his presidency.
Carlos, did you not just hear that I'm in college?
They don't care. It's like, it doesn't matter.
You got a crush on me. Leave me alone, bruh.
Look, Carlos Morales, why are you, the thing about it is that when you're online, he's behind the screen. Yeah. He might not even have a house. He might not even have a job. So it's easy for someone to say that, but he doesn't know your circumstance. He don't know if you have a job. He don't know what you're doing. You know, he doesn't. You're living in a single home in a suburban neighborhood, and because of Biden's high interest rate, a lot of young people are unable to buy their own houses. That's what Trump is working on.
Lone Rider, you're brainwashed because you don't know that you're brainwashed.
That's what's going on. A lot of young people can't even go out there and buy houses because of that high inflation and that economy because of, Bidenomics. Remember the Bidenomics? Yeah. That was just 4 weeks ago.
Yeah, Zach said, forget Carlos. That's all the left can do is talk crap.
But they don't, yeah.
Exactly.
But you don't know if he's even American. So you don't even know if he's American, because why would you push back on stuff like this? You know, it really doesn't make any sense. But anyway, the left are traumatized. Liberals melt down over Trump, Elon Musk ultimatums.
What do you mean, you people, Carlos? You saying that? You see that?
Huh?
He's saying that we're always victims. You people are always victims.
No, he's the victim. You're a victim. I wish we could have that video come up when they said, you're a victim. No, God is good, and we are blessed to be a blessing. And speak the truth is about telling the truth, and the truth hurts. I'm not in agreement with everything Trump does. I'm not in agreement with everything Elon does, and nor am I in agreement with what the left does. But whatever Trump does, people hold him accountable from day one. But all these people that saw how horrible this government was being run, and now Trump is supposed to fix this mess. It's a mess. They destroyed this country. That's a fact.
Lone Rider.
That's a fact.
Lone Rider, why do you say that? Like, explain yourself.
They destroyed this freaking country. But it was good for you if you're an immigrant. It was great for you, but it's for American citizens, it wasn't great for us.
Yeah. Zach said,
what?
All I know is that for once we have a president that's truly doing what he said he would do, and he's informing us 100% of the way.
And they're transparent. How about the transparency? How about he's on the news every single day taking questions from American citizens and from reporters every day. We didn't have that with that past administration. We had a vice president couldn't even complete a sentence, and we had a president suffering from dementia. That's what we had. So this is a far cry. And now the media, they so happy they get to ask questions. It's like they tripping over themselves. And Trump is a president who does exactly what he campaigned on. He's doing exactly what he campaigned on. He's actually keeping his word. That's called a man of integrity. He's keeping his word.
Someone said, I see you living a good life in a destroyed country. You barking dogs.
They mad because they're getting deported. But it's okay. We're going to pray for you. We sorry. Just come in legally. That's all. Come in legally.
Yes, that's the call.
Okay? Because there's no American citizen that's not going to want the best for their country. There's no one in any country that don't want their taxpayer dollars to benefit them. And right now, our taxpayer dollars has benefited everyone except for American citizens. And that's why Trump is the president. That's why he's president. Because this election, you had black people, white people, Jewish people, indigenous people, Indian people, everyone came together and voted for Trump. And that's why he won all the swing states, and that's why he got the popular vote, because Americans came together and they put that man in office, because we couldn't take another 4 years of what was in there. Couldn't take another 4 years. We wouldn't have survived another 4 years of that mess. And we had a freaking, at least Trump knows how to do art of the deal. He got, he already have trillions of dollars coming into this country within a matter of 4 weeks. Are you kidding me? He got people reinvesting, even Apple, what is it, 400 billion, 500 billion they invested in this country. He has money coming back to us. He making Ukraine, look, we want your minerals. Like we didn't get a loan like Europe did as far as giving money for their war. We gave the most money getting nothing back, and Trump is trying to recoup some money some kind of way.
RC asked, do you only follow conservative Christian platforms for information, or do you do your own research on the topics you're discussing?
Well, if you asking that a question, obviously you haven't done your own research. Okay? Like, I have always voted the other side. I helped get Biden into office. I campaigned, I canvassed, I did everything that 2020 election. But there were promises made and promises broken, especially to black people. And they call it insanity if you keep doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. And that's what happened with this election. A lot of black people felt like all they do every 4 years come around and they thought giving us Megan Thee Stallion, shake her behind, getting Beyonce to walk out like she in a homosexual relationship, that we all supposed to run to the polls and vote for them, but they promised us nothing. They ran on abortion. They didn't run on the economy because they were the ones that destroyed the economy. But they try to act like Trump was president for the last 4 years. Like they weren't the ones that was in office. So what we're going to do, and the reason why I started this channel, because I told my son, they're going to try to blame and put all this on Trump. I'm going to make sure that they are held accountable.
So they like your tree painting.
They what?
They like the tree painting.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, we got carpets and everything to match it. Thank you. Yeah.
So someone said that's the guy who used to not talk in the live streams.
You know, so we want to hold them accountable. We're not going to let everybody put this on Trump. He's trying to clean this mess up, but it's so much that was done to this country. And if he wasn't in office right now, China would be the world leaders. President Xi, he would be the world leader. It wouldn't be Kamala. Vladimir Putin and President Xi and Kim Jong-un, they would be running everything, okay? And the gangs in this country, they would have been taken over. They wouldn't have had a border czar. The freaking borders would still be open. So this country would be irreversible as far as the damage that would have been done with 4 more years of this. There would be no coming back. There would be no coming back from this. So we needed Trump leadership to step in.
Joey said, then explain to me, why is he cutting Medicaid? Or is it you just don't like that question?
Look, did I say I ran for office? It's funny how we don't ask the politicians these questions. First of all, he didn't say he was cutting Medicaid. Every time he say he's not cutting Medicaid, people, you must believe in Project 2025. Are we still there? He said he's not cutting Medicaid. But he needs to get people off of our healthcare system because it's unsustainable. When you allow 14 million homeless people to come in and you put them on our healthcare, we can't afford them. So maybe that's what he's cutting. He's cutting them off of it.
They said it's not an easy question to reply to, but Joey said once again, he said, who's going to cut the crops, who's going to get the lettuce, who's going to pick the fruits?
Who was doing it before they got here? Why people act like they just started doing it the last 4 years?
Then he said, I'm sure Americans will stand up, probably do work like
that. And I heard that they were making like $100, $150 freaking a day. They getting paid for doing that. They not making that little bit of money like y'all thought or think they're making. But now we got farmers now going to be using AI, robots. They got other ways now of picking crops and getting crops. Those jobs are going to be obsolete sooner than later in the first place.
Terrell said a great point. He said God is using him to hold back the inevitable. A short window.
Yeah. Don't forget to hit the like, share, and subscribe. But like Elon, we're looking at the good, the bad, and the ugly. There's some good about it because he's trimming the waste. Because if we don't do something about this debt, America has given to everyone and received nothing back. That's what Trump is trying to get money back. We're in trillions of dollars in debt because when anybody need anything, oh, y'all want Sesame Street in Saudi Arabia? Oh, we're going to give you $22 million. Oh, y'all need condoms? Oh, here go $50 million for condoms. You know, we're just tossing out money when we can't help the people here in our own country. Let that make sense. Or like they say, make that make sense. We got to start with home. I'm going to take care of home before I take care of someone else.
Joey said, go talk to some farmers and see what they tell you.
Have you talked to some farmers? Have you talked to any farmers? Everybody keep going. It's not no 14 million illegal immigrants picking crops. They're not. That's not what they're doing. Okay.
Al Stephan said, "What's bad about what Elon is doing?"
The good, the bad, and the ugly. The bad is, and the ugly is that you just can't take and just eliminate these jobs like that without looking into the functions. So you need to have, he probably should have spoken to people in authority over these people that can give him a summary of what departments are needed, what departments not, because right now there's misinformation. They're being told, some departments being told, don't respond to the email. Other departments are saying, respond to the email. The unions are saying, don't respond. So it's too much that's going on and people don't have clarity. They don't know what to do. And that's the biggest problem with what's going on. Elon has a goal, but he has to remember these are people. And these federal employees people are talking about, they have to remember that a lot of these people are your vets. They just transition into federal jobs because that's what a lot of the military does. So now you're going to have a lot of vets. We already got homeless vets. We already got vets not receiving the benefits and the respect they deserve. But now you're going to have vets without jobs. So I think that they really needed to, it's been going on forever. So they could have taken their time to roll this out the right way.
RC, you could look this up yourself because it seems
What?
like you're the victim of misinformation. They said, how do we know we're not the victim of misinformation?
Google it. Google it then. Because we're living all of it. We're here. You're living it. And I thank God that you don't have to listen just to certain news channels. I only used to listen to MSNBC, CNN, CBS, ABC, NBC. That's all. I thought that was the gospel. I believed everything they said until I found out that they're the wolves in sheep clothing. Okay, so you need to do your own research. There are a lot of content creators out here that have boots on the ground that are bringing you the news. They're actually doing real reporting. They're out there, like people like Charlie Kirk, Cash Jordan. It's different people that's actually out there bringing the news.
Next, Charlie.
Okay, and they do a phenomenal job. I think they're way better than the media. So you can listen to real people, and we're authentic. Anything we say, we're not all knowing. So if you have something that you can enlighten us and tell us, give us a different perspective, that's welcome here. But you can't just say stupid stuff and just try to insult or but you don't have anything to back up what you say. You want us to explain what we say, but you don't explain anything that you're saying. If you know more, then let us all know. Where are you getting your news source from? I could explain to you about the federal government, about, what's going on, but I believe that you have to be on the job to know what's going on. What I hate is for a supervisor or a manager that never have done the job before, but they want to come in and tell you what to do, but you know more about the job than they do. You have to train them. They are hired, but they don't even know how to do the job. That's what's going on now. Elon knows what he's doing when he's talking about space and X and everything else, but he never worked for the federal government. He doesn't know how it operates. He's treating it like he would his own business, but that's not how it's done with the federal government, because you can't just do what you want to do. There are unions, there are laws, there are different ways, there's different chain of commands. And that's why a lot of stuff he's doing is heading to court, is all these lawsuits, because he needed a better approach to it. And I think that there's so much thievery that's been going on, and there's so much wasteful spending that's been going on. He's finding more waste in that than anything else. But let's see, they said traumatizing, liberals meltdown over Elon Musk and his ultimatum. Okay, so
about 15 minutes. Now, this is the first visit of a European leader, and it's somewhat of a diplomatic blitz. We know on Thursday,
don't forget to hit the like, share, and subscribe.
Of the UK amid high-stake talks about the war in Ukraine, Israel, NATO, and beyond.
Thank you for the donation.
All the news as it happens, as President Trump is about to meet with Emmanuel Macron discussing tariffs, the European Union, and so much more. Hello, everyone. This is Outnumbered. I'm Kaylee McEnany here with my co-host, Emily Campagno. Also joining us, Ainsley Earhart, Fox & Friends co-host. Marie Harf, Fox News contributor and former State Department spokesperson under President Obama. And Paul Morrow, Fox News contributor, attorney, and retired NYPD inspector. Well, the clock is ticking for federal workers to comply with Doge head Elon Musk's request for productivity reports. He asked them to prove that they earn their taxpayer-funded paycheck. There's this email that went out on Saturday night. It was from the Office of Personnel Management, sent out to all federal workers, more than 2 million of them. And here's the subject line: what did you do last week? The email reads, as you see here, please reply with approximately 5 bullets of what you accomplished last week. It also sets a deadline for tonight at 11:59 p.m. Eastern time. Tick, 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 fast approaching. Now, Musk says failure to respond will be interpreted as a resignation. He added this on X. The reason that this matters is that a significant number of people who are supposed to be working for the government are doing so little work that they are not checking their email at all. In some cases, we believe non-existent people or the identities of dead people are being used to collect paychecks. In other words, there is outright fraud. And President Trump is backing Elon Musk up on this one. Look at this. He reposted this edited SpongeBob meme to troll Democrats and other critics who are up in arms over 5 bullet points. So we know where President Trump stands. You know, Ainsley, we just saw the email. The email didn't contain a threat. Yes, the Elon Musk Truth or Twitter, whatever it was after, kind of emphasized there could be consequences. But I'm struck by the reaction. This is from a huge union that represents federal government workers. Look at what they said. This email is nothing more than an irresponsible and sophomoric attempt to create confusion, bully hard.
At Vistaprint, we print signs so people can see your brand up close. But we also print signs so that people can see your business here.
I can skip it back.
The hardworking federal employees that serve their country, they're demanding the email be rescinded and an apology to all federal employees. Hakeem Jeffries decided to take it up a notch, and he said Elon Musk is traumatizing hardworking federal employees, their children, and families. I mean, I don't know that it's traumatizing to ask for 5 things you did at work.
No, not at all. If your boss asks you, what are the 5 things you accomplished last week? Then you just tell your boss. I think Elon's doing this. I think it is for fraud. We know the Social Security, they have lists and lists of thousands of people that are between the ages of like 100 and 150. Well, no one's living at 150 in America, right? Or anywhere in the world. So they shouldn't get Social Security checks. Same thing's happening here. He's going through and he's making sure that these individuals are really working, that they are individuals, and and to make sure that he holds them accountable and make sure that people aren't just getting paychecks and that person doesn't even exist. So this is all to save the taxpayer money. I think the only thing missing here is consultation. I think that the heads of these departments need to be involved in this so that there's not friction between the heads of the departments and Elon Musk, so that the Trump team is working together.
Emily, and that's a really interesting point, because you do look, and there was some pushback from NIH, from DOJ, you saw FBI, Kash Patel put out something, Department of Defense, the acting Secretary of Defense. So some of these individuals were not Trump appointees, some of them are acting, but nonetheless, you do have agencies pushing back a little, and we'll see where Trump comes out on the side of Elon Musk or some of these department heads.
Right, and I think the arguments varied amongst the agencies and for different reasons.
Yeah.
So some were arguing privacy and security, which is a whole different argument than those knee-jerk reactions from AFSCME and NTEU union heads saying that it's irresponsible, it's traumatic. I want to underscore that for a moment, because as a federal attorney, you could not make 1 inch of progress in terms of efficiency or productivity without the union knee-jerk pushing back. And it was so, at the time, disheartening to me to see people whose full paychecks and full 100% of their time, as they were stewarded and paid by the American people, were working on behalf of the unions. But at the end of the day, it stopped being a representation of the employee. It stopped being a representation of the employee against, the robber barons of the past and sort of these overreaching bosses. What it was simply a massively opaque protection and a bristling at the notion that you even had to account for yourself. And I posit legally, as employees, we are entitled to specificity from our bosses, right? You have to know, you have to have an articulable, point-by-point position description. So why can't the inverse be true? Why can't our bosses have the same specificity with our production, and productivity, so that they know exactly what we are doing and how we are complying with these position descriptions? At the end of the day, for efficiency, I think if the whole point is simply ascertaining those who are fraudulently collecting paychecks, then it should indeed go through the department heads and the team heads, because that's the only way to steward the thousands and thousands of emails that will now flood to Elon Musk. But if I was still a federal employee, I personally would be proud of what I had accomplished and would have responded immediately.
Maria, I think, there's a risk
See,
of
that's what I was saying, like what she was saying. That's my sentiments about it. They need to take the department heads, and they should be the ones that the employees should be responding to, and then they forward everything to Elon Musk. But to have everyone supposed to send everything to him, and who's making the determination? Elon Musk is not the one that's going to read all these emails, because they said Doge have all these like people that are, what, the oldest is like 25 or whatever. Like, who's actually making the determinations? So you're hoping that it's not these young kids that are making the determination. So that needs to be taken in consideration. Who's going to determine who stays and who goes? Because Elon is not going to be the one that's going to be reading these emails. He's not. So he should have probably allowed the department heads, just like what the FBI is doing with the Pentagon and them, they saying for them not to respond to Elon. They do not answer that email. And that's how all the departments should be saying. And they need to come together and have a freaking meeting and form a committee with all these department heads. And then the emails will go to them, and then decisions will be made. Because who knows better than the people who are actually there doing the jobs and the people who are actually there supervising the jobs. So that makes a difference. So it's the way the rollout is wrong. And at the end of the day, Trump's name is on it. So he's going to be held accountable. And that's why you're going to have the protests. That's why you're going to have the meltdowns. That's why you're going to have the people pushing back. Because a lot of these people actually voted for Trump because they saw the wasteful spending. A lot of these people believed in what Trump believes in. And these people are actually voted to lose their jobs. They're losing their jobs. And I don't think that they thought that it would be a mass layoff with their positions. And some of these people are, lawyers and, doctors that work for these organizations. It's all types of different functions that goes along in these corporations. I mean, with the Pentagon or with the federal government. And I don't think that Elon didn't hire them. I don't believe Elon, he should be reporting back to the president. I don't believe that Elon should be in a position to say who comes and who goes, who's allowed to stay and who goes. That shouldn't be his call. And who's reading your emails? If you don't write it well enough, then this person is say, you might do a phenomenal job. What if last week was a slow week? What if last week, nobody had much production? Because even at my job, it was like we would have times that it would be like we would be busy running around like with a chicken with his head cut off, and then we would have breathers that, okay, it could be like the time of the season, okay, we're not as busy. We're busy, but we're not as busy. So you have a lot of jobs have slow times and they have peak times. So if you're working during a slower time, then you might not have a lot to say, but you might work hard at what you're doing. So it's hard. That's why I think that this should have been management should have been making these decisions, and not some unknown person working for Elon that doesn't even work for the government, and they're going to decide whether or not people get to keep their jobs or lose their jobs. I really don't feel that's the right way to go with this. States of America, I'm willing to bet. Okay, you say States of America. Trump is dealing with so much. I don't even believe that Trump can have his hands on it the way that he wants on it, because he's dealing with 2 wars. He's dealing with open borders. He's dealing with inflation, the economy. He's talking to world leaders today at the White House. He has a lot that's going on. So he's entrusting Elon to make a lot of these decisions because he believes that Elon is brilliant, he's smart, and that he can make the right decisions. But Elon doesn't have experience in the Pentagon. He doesn't have experience in the FBI. He doesn't have experience in these different departments. And that's why he needed to really have been talking to these department heads. That's my point of view. That's how I see it. The only thing Biden could do was just hang at the beach. 40% of his presidency was at the beach, and anybody say that Biden could have made a better decision when he suffered from dementia, then you most definitely is not an American citizen. He most definitely was unfit to be president. That's a fact.
Elon Musk. But if I was still a federal employee, I personally would be proud of what I had accomplished and would have responded immediately.
Maria, I think, there's a risk of oversimplifying all of this because I do think federal employees fall into three buckets. You have the political appointees, some of whom are thrilled that this is happening. They see this as a revolution in government. Then you have this other pot of hardworking federal government employees. I don't think they care who the president is. I think they care deeply about their job, and that pot does exist. But that is not all federal workers. There are federal workers that have this attitude. This was an NBC anonymous communication that came to them. Saw this a few weeks ago. This is a federal employee at the Department of Veteran Affairs. A lot of us are going to stay out of spite, they said. We're here for however long we want to be here. I could be here until retirement. In 30 years, the Trump administration is only here for 4. What's wrong with trying to root out an employee staying out of spite?
Well, there are both legal problems, and I think we're hearing that from some of the unions. There are contracts that have been negotiated, but more importantly, this is just the latest in a string of attacks on public servants that have happened for the last month. I spent 10 years in the federal government. Most of the people I worked with at the CIA or the State Department were hardworking, patriotic, dedicated Americans.
Right.
These federal workers aren't just in Washington, they're around the country. We had 1,000 Veterans Affairs employees fired by DOJ in the last few weeks, including some that made a suicide hotline for veterans.
That's right.
We had FAA safety officers mistakenly fired, and people that work on avian flu. The reason our eggs are so expensive is because of bird flu. So moving fast and making public service employees feel like the enemy and make it seem like it's something that's dishonorable is very difficult for people across the country. And that's why you see people in red states and red districts going to town halls with their members and saying, I have honorably served my country for 20 years, and I got fired for no reason by Elon Musk, who, by the way, makes millions and millions of dollars from the federal government himself. And he's firing people who make $50,000 a year for no reason. So I think morally, this has been really disheartening to see how they're going after someone so rich as Elon is going after public service employees and not doing it with a scalpel, not having their man. If you're looking to upgrade the style
that's
of your
my
home,
whole
the
point. Like she's making the point that I was making is that he's not realizing that these are vets that have a lot of these jobs, and some of them are on the suicidal watch. Some of them are, serving their country, and you just can't do just a stroke of a pen and say it's everyone when it's not. I think that he should have went to the department heads of each agency, and who knows the job better. As a manager, as a supervisor, you come to me, I know what the job is, I know what the employee work habits are, I know what's needed, what's not needed, I know how we can trim it, because you got to give reports. You have to give reports when you're in management about production. Every job you have to give reports about production. So I don't know why that's being overlooked, because I'm quite sure Elon does that with his own company. But the federal government isn't his company. And I think that he needs the expertise of the people that are actually doing the job. We're cutting wasteful spending in record speed of time. We're finding money. I mean, they've only been in office. Trump been in office 4 weeks. Imagine 2 years of this. He's just getting started, people. He's just getting started. That's why I say it's the good, the bad, and the ugly. There's good in this, there's bad in this, and I don't want to see someone that fought for our country to lose their jobs. that they serve the country, they enter the government, they transition into federal work, working for the government. They were able to keep their leave, keep their benefits, keep their seniority. They should be able to keep their jobs, especially the jobs that are needed. Because after they're doing all this, now they have to get in contact with people to bring them back in. They bring them back in. So it's the way you do things. Nobody just goes into a company that have no knowledge at all about the company and just do something. That's like us going to Tesla and then we just fire his whole work crew, all his geniuses. They no longer needed. And who are the emails going to? Elon is not going to be looking at hundreds of thousands of emails. Who's looking at these emails and who's being given the task to make decisions? Yeah.
Stephen's saying you don't know what you're talking about. Benjamin Franklin created the post office.
I said that he was the first postmaster general. I never said he created a post office.
They're saying that he created it. They're saying you're wrong. He actually did create
Benjamin Franklin was the first postmaster general. That's what he was. He was not the first person that was he was put in that position, I think by England, but he was the first postmaster general. I'm trying to think because I think the fire department was involved or whatever prior to him. I forget how it went.
And they're saying that you're not up to par because you don't believe in Donald Trump or Elon, the two most successful business people in the world, need to go.
That they need to go. What did they say?
They're saying that you're not up to par because you don't believe in the two most successful business people.
You know what? It doesn't matter. First of all, I'm not in office. This is called Speak the Truth. And that's what you're going to hear. The truth hurts. I voted for Trump. I didn't vote for Elon. Let's be clear. Okay, I didn't see Elon's name on any ballot. The only people's names I saw on the ballot for the two highest positions in the United States for president and vice president was Donald J. Trump and J.D. Vance. That's what I saw. I don't know what kind of ballot you had. Okay, so I'm not questioning and saying that Elon, that's why I call this the good, the bad, and the ugly. Because it is. I didn't know and I didn't see, just like I didn't know Biden was going to open up the freaking borders. Okay, I didn't know Elon would have so much of an impact on the decisions being made in regards to this government. I didn't realize that. I think that he's doing a great job. I love that he's finding ways, but he can fire every federal employee and it's not going to make a dent in this $34 trillion deficit we're in that was created from all these presidents not taking action all these years. Trump is the first president that has taken action to do something about this deficiency because he, after all, he wrote Art of the Deal. Trump he's about making money, getting money back, and making America better than what it was. And anything's an improvement from that last freaking administration that ran on abortion. So that's what I'm saying. So I'm not questioning that. I'm saying that Elon could have done it a better way. He's not going to be looking at all those emails. He didn't hire. I'm like this. If you didn't hire, you shouldn't be able to fire people. If you didn't hire them, who are you to fire anyone? He should have went to, just like Kash Patel, the FBI, he's telling them not to respond. How are you going to tell people not to respond, but you want other people to respond? It's government across the board. Pentagon is saying don't respond. All the 5 agencies are saying not to respond. Then unions are telling people not to respond. I just think that there needs to be clarity. See, I like to work in decency and order, and clarity is important.
No, Nathaniel, Elon needs to be called out about this.
Yeah, you got to call people out.
He's saying we shouldn't give him so much focus.
Well, he needs to be called out because he's in the news as much as Trump is.
Yeah.
So that's why we're talking about it today, because when you give people a deadline and a cutoff and tell them about 11:59 tonight, if you don't respond to me, okay, I'll tell you don't respond to me, you don't have a job. Okay, I'm going to fire you because you didn't respond to my email. Nobody has ever gotten fired because they didn't respond to an email. You're supposed to get fired because you're not performing your duties. You're not coming to work. You're late for work. There's tardiness. There's different reasons. But not responding to an email has never been the grounds to fire anybody. So I don't know. But that's why I said that he should have formulated a committee. He's in charge of Doge. That's what Trump decided to make in a department. He put him at the head of the department. Was what his name, what, Vivek? Yeah, he was a part of it. Probably would have been balanced if Vivek didn't drop out. Right now, Elon is just running amok. But I think Vivek is more sensible about doing things as well. And he's a billionaire. He's not as rich as Elon, but sometimes you need balance. That's how people have relationships. The wife is a spender, the husband is a saver, however the case may be. You need to have balance. And right now, there isn't any balance. It has to be balanced. People, there's confusion that's going on out here. And that's why we're talking about it, because people are being told to respond and not to respond. So what is it? Which one is it? Which one is it? They're being told by their peers, what if he fired everybody in the FBI tomorrow because they didn't respond? He said, okay, forget what Kash Patel has said, the head of the FBI. I told you to respond. Now all y'all fired. Then what? What about the Pentagon? Everybody in the Pentagon, you know how big the Pentagon is? How many departments that's in the Pentagon? Oh, they didn't respond, so all of them are fired? Are you kidding me? You can't do that. He did that with the nuclear people and with other departments. And now they're trying to get people back.
Someone said you're voting against your own interests.
That's so funny. Voting against my own interests is if I had voted for them fools that knucklehead Tim and what's her name, Kamala Harris. You know, I even saw it the other day. She still seemed like she was drunk. I mean, yeah, right. Yeah, right. They were not the ones. We didn't have any other choice. And Trump was the better choice by far. By far. He was the better choice. If the Democrats would never have office again because they can't hear the people. People didn't like the high economy. People didn't like open borders. People didn't like same-sex marriages. People didn't like men and women sports, boys and women bathrooms. They didn't hear any of that. People didn't like that when they have a disaster, we supposed to have FEMA, they gave all the money to illegal immigrants and nothing for American citizens. People got tired of all our money going to, say, Ukraine, $350 billion, and we're not building back up our own infrastructure. People got tired of all of this wasteful spending. So what Elon is doing is amazing. If you listen to some of the monies that he's found and what they've been doing, Elon is some of the work he's been doing is amazing because he has been finding wasteful spending. But I think that as far as firing federal workers, he needs to take more time with that. That's what people do that have common sense. You take more time with that, put people head of committees, and then talk to the people that oversees these people. Talk to them. I can't go in your company and fire everyone and I never worked at that job. I can't go in and say, you're unqualified, you're unqualified, but I've never been a scientist. How am I going to tell you that you're unqualified when I've never done a job? I didn't major in that. I don't know. But I know these people have to make a decision by tonight. And have anybody found out who is going to be actually reading these emails? Who's going to answer? Are they going to get a response from the emails? Who's supposed to give the responses to their emails? How soon will they hear a response from the emails? Like, who are the people? Do they work for the government? Are these the young kids that Elon has that's finding wasteful spending? Who's making these decisions? Because Elon is not going to be reading these emails. He's
Forty said, if they can't answer a simple question of what they did this week, then they should be fired.
I think that they can. I think a lot of people can. But I think there's a lot of information going and people are telling them to respond and people are telling them not to respond. And there needs to be clarity. They got their unions telling them don't respond. Their bosses are telling them don't respond. And Elon is telling them to respond. So I think that needs to be clarified. Everybody should be able to say what they did last week. What did you do? That's not that hard. They should be able to just say it. But some people want to comply, but they're being told not to comply. I just think that it's all over the scope right now. I think it's confusion that's going on. So you got senators lashing out at Elon. You got all kinds of stuff that's going on. And we could listen to what some of our left media, what are they saying about what's going on? Let me get them on here. Read the comments so you can see.
Harry said if you voted for him, you get what you deserve.
Nobody voted for Elon. This is about Elon.
I guess they like open borders and men in female locker rooms and bathrooms.
Yeah, they do.
Illegal immigrants killing children and women and sexually assaulting and raping women. I guess you like that. Harry, explain yourself. Instead of name calling, just explain yourself. I'll have a conversation with you.
What is he saying?
He's saying that I sound like a fool. He's the guy who said if you voted for him, you're getting what you deserve.
We are thanking God that God spared this man's life because we do need him in office. Yes, I voted for Trump, and if the election was over again, I would vote for him again. Yeah. Because the Democratic Party is not the same party. It changed. It became the transgender party. It became the LGBTQ party. It became the illegal immigrant party. It was non-American party. If you were an American citizen, then you prosper. But it was not for America first. Not at all. Not at all. Not at all.
Affairs correspondent with The Nation, John Nichols. John, read the room for me. Is this going to be a problem going forward, knowing that we had a lot of conversations leading up to the election talking about all of the perils that Donald Trump had, with the caveat that he could still win? Are we reading these town halls correctly? Is it really blowback?
Of course it is. There's no question of that. It's a question of how much blowback and in how many places it occurs. Does this happen the next time they come back? Do Republicans start not having town hall meetings? I mean, that becomes a critical question. What I can tell you is this. I know the Wisconsin counties where these town hall meetings occurred. I'm from Wisconsin. Wow. And these are very, very Republican places. And yes, I have no doubt maybe somebody drove 25 or 30 miles from a neighboring county, but the neighboring counties are even more Republican. And so when, as an example, Glenn Grothman, the very conservative congressman from Northeast Wisconsin, came into his meeting in Algoma, Wisconsin, he was booed and jeered as he walked in by folks from a very Republican area. And it wasn't just kind of a blanket unthinking thing. There was a great deal of reference to Medicaid. There was a great deal of reference to social safety net programs. There was a striking level of anger at Elon Musk. And a lot of questions about Elon Musk's power and how it might be limited, and people yelling he wasn't elected. And so I think this is real.
And my sense is that in watching the congressman from Wisconsin, at least, Glenn Grothman and Scott Fitzgerald, who had these very confrontational meetings, you could tell they were, I think they were very surprised, but by the same token, they were listening. I mean, I do think they were taking this in because they didn't think it was false. They didn't think it was an outlier. I think they believed this is something real that exists in their districts.
They're clearly trying to move fast and break things. It's the cliche from the tech industry that's being taken to Washington. Do you see any acknowledgement from the Trump folks that maybe they don't have the mandate, the fullest mandate that they think they do, that maybe people would like them to be a little more surgical in their cuts?
I don't see that yet. And I think that you're seeing from Elon Musk, even in recent days, some really blanket approaches to asking federal employees to explain what they did last week and things like that. So I think this is still a very confrontational moment, but it's also very early. I was out the other day, over the weekend, I was out in Iowa, where Bernie Sanders was doing a Stop Oligarchy or Fight Oligarchy tour. And he went to districts where Republicans narrowly held congressional seats in Omaha and Omaha, Nebraska, Iowa City. The crowds were disproportionately large. They got 2-3 times as many people as they'd expected. They had to do overflow rooms for these events. And what Sanders was saying to these folks is, don't get so excited about me and don't get so excited about, what you're hearing from Washington. Talk to your member of Congress and tell them that very soon they're going to be debating huge tax cuts for people like Elon Musk, for very rich people. Tell your member of Congress you don't want that. And so I think that if they start to hear that, that could have a real impact.
We'll see. It's still very early days. John Nichols, thanks for coming on. Always good to see you, my friend.
Complex cases every day.
It's amazing. So that's what's going on. But anyway, we want to come on here. We're going to get ready to jump off. We're going to come back on a little later on with a different topic. But I felt as though that it was important to talk about what's going on tonight. I know it's going to be a lot of news tomorrow about the people that comply and the people that didn't comply, and what's going to be the next move of the president, or what's going to be the next move of Elon Musk. Like, how far is this going to go? Like, so if you're in agreement with Elon Musk, then that's fine. If you're not in agreement with Elon Musk, then why, what is it about him and what is he doing that you dislike? Are you a federal employee? Are you being affected by Elon Musk? Are your family members being affected by what Elon Musk is doing as far as the federal employees? So there's a lot of questions. So don't forget to leave your comments. So we do read them, leave a comment and we will address, because people ask different questions and things like that. And we want to address them. But I can imagine tomorrow news, what's going to be the blowback about all of this and who actually responded to Elon Musk. How much power does he have? How much power does Elon Musk have? Is Elon able to have people continue? Well, I guess, is he able to have people fired, that don't comply to this email when they have their leadership telling them not to, they have the unions telling them not to, and his approval rating is falling because of this. So I just believe that right now, with the 2 wars that's going on, with the economy, with all the other problems that we have, that he's addressing, and he's talking to all these world leaders that look like on a daily basis, he has his hands full and his hands tied. That Elon is doing a great job finding, wasteful spending in the government. But I think that he has 2 years. I think that he could have just set this in motion a different way. So what do you think? How do you think he should have went about this? Are you in agreement just to fire everyone all at once? Do you think that's how that's going to solve the overspending of the government? I don't think it's really coming from that as much as all these fake projects that they had going on. That a lot of money is padding their pockets versus going to the people that they're supposed to actually help. This happens every day in the real world. Yeah, it does. It does. It happens every day, but it's a difference when you're a federal employee. You have stronger unions. In the everyday world, they don't have unions. They don't have like the military transitioning into these jobs like you do in the federal government. So a lot of these vets are suicide. A lot of these vets, this is how, they keep their employment working for the government. They keep their health benefits. They keep their seniority, their leave. They keep their annual. They keep a lot of things. It's a lot of benefits for them to continue working for the government versus coming out, becoming a civilian and going into more of the secular jobs, the other jobs outside of the government. So it does happen, but they do have a level of protection when they are hired. They have protections that your average job doesn't have. And I don't think that's what people don't understand, that when you work for the federal government, you have protections, that you can exercise your rights. And we're not responding to an email. I'm quite sure there's nothing in their contract that says that if you don't respond to an email, you can be terminated. See, that stuff, like when you work for the government, that stuff has to be in writing. People are supposed to be able to go to something, and like their DM or whatever it's called, and show you in the DM that it says if you don't respond to an email, that it can cause termination of your job. So that's why they can sue, because if you're a lawyer, if you are someone like that, it's like a case for them. They have a case. So anyway, just let us know, how you feel about it. Are you being affected? Do you think they all need to go, or do you think that some of them need to go? Because everybody doesn't need to go. You can't get rid of the FBI. You can't get rid of some of these people you need. So, but then they can say, well, it's unfair that they're not being fired. They didn't respond, but you're going to fire me. So then if you're looking at a judge, then the judge has to say, okay, how is this fair that they responded and they didn't respond? They kept their jobs and you lost your job. So I think it's going to be a lot of blowback, because it's not cut and dry like that. So anyway, you guys, thank you for spending your time with us. It's time for us to eat. We usually don't come on this early. We usually come on like around 9 o'clock, usually is like our time. But anyway, thanks for coming on. Just leave a comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit the notification bell. I wish, you should be getting so many more likes. But see, when you do the likes, that's how it goes out to the algorithm. That's how people can find the channel. That's how people are able to engage, and we can hear other people's point of view. So that's why people, or you'll see content creators that ask you to hit the like button. That's it. Just hit the like button. And this way, you can have more people engaging, more people have opinion, and more people can hear, and they can comment. So anyway, yeah, as black folks love Elon, yeah, and Trump. So yeah, so just don't forget on your way out, hit the like button, subscribe. You got to hit the notification bell so you're notified when we jump back on. Too many government employees. Some need to be, that's the whole point. Some do need to be let go. But they should have some of these department heads, they need to be in contact and have a conversation with Elon so that they can determine what departments need to go, what employees need to go, who are your hard workers, who not. Because some people that are hard workers could be transferred to a department where it would benefit that department. Some of these, everybody is not everybody that they're firing aren't people who aren't working. You have some people that are dedicated, they love their jobs, they actually love what they do, and they're being let go. And some of them, they never miss a day of work. They're on time. There are people that work, they never miss a day of work. They're always on time. That they love what they're doing. A lot of those people are losing their jobs as well, and maybe some of them should have been transferred to a department that is productive, that it would be better to have them in that department versus just letting everyone go. Because somebody's still going to have to do the work. Somebody's still going to have to do the work at the end of the day. What did he put on? Yeah, so anyway, you guys, thanks for joining us. Yes, we'll wait till you guys are kicked down. Too many government employees. Yeah, well, the thing about black people, we are survivors. There is nothing that we have encountered, and everybody copy black people about from from swag, dress, everything, you name it, it's us. But we have to be better at everything. We have to have more degrees than everyone else. We have to have our PhDs. We have to fight harder just to have equal opportunity. So nothing is just given to black people. So no matter what programs they put out there, they're supposed to benefit us. Even that DEI did not benefit black people. Black people were the last people that benefited from DEI. They put black people like that's the face of it, but we were the last people hired because of DEI. All right, when we're hired because we have to be the best of the best. You know, they said 74% of white men are actually in these executive positions when it's only like 4% or 5% of black people. They said the biggest hire with DEI were white women. They benefited the most, followed by the Hispanic Latinos, followed by the Asians, followed by the Indians, indigenous people, then the LGBTQ, and then it was who else was it? Disabled vets. Then it was seniors, and then it was black people. Black people were the last on the list. So, you know, so that's just a facade when they put black people up front. So, and the people that did the most harm to us have been Democrats. Let's just put that out there. Nobody have been worse to black people than the freaking Democrats, by far. By far. They locked us up more than, it wasn't the Republicans, it was the Democrats. Ku Klux Klan, who was that? That was the Democrats. Okay? Biden, he locked, who was the author of the 1994 crime bill? What about Clinton? He even made it even worse for black people. What about Obama? He was for the LGBTQ. He didn't do anything for black people. He was the father, grandfather, LGBTQ, and Biden was the father of transgenders. What did he celebrate on Easter, Resurrection Sunday, Transgender Day? Okay, so Trump. You got that right. Trump. And so none of them. And you know what Trump did? He was the one that got passed in Congress, something that Obama couldn't do and Biden couldn't do. He got the First Step Act passed, and that allowed black men that were over sentenced and serving times they shouldn't have to regain their freedom. That was Trump. Okay? Who gave money to HBCUs that they didn't have to come and beg for money every year? That was Trump, and gave them more than what they needed. So
look what we just did
what?
For Black History Month.
Yeah, look what he just did for Black History Month. What other president thought of having a garden that recognized black accomplishments, from Rosa Parks to Dr. Martin Luther King to Harriet Tubman to to Muhammad Ali to Kobe Bryant, just all sorts of amazing black people and inventors, different people. You know, he's going to display artwork, statues, all sorts of things. That's Trump, to celebrate Black History Month. What president has done that? They don't want to talk about that. Don't want to talk about that. So anyway, I'm going to get off of here. I want to try to jump back on here. So if you want to be on here, don't forget to hit the like, share, subscribe. You got to hit the notification bell so you'll be notified when we come on. But thanks for spending your time with us. It's time to eat. It's time to, regroup and everything. But thanks. I know it's Monday. So anyway, people got stuff to do, and so do we. So anyway, thanks for coming on. And we'll probably be back on with a follow-up tomorrow. Like what happened, what's going to happen for the people that didn't respond to that deadline, which is tonight at 11:59. Anyway, God bless all of you. And Trump. Can we get it up to at least 30 likes? This is real weak. This subject is weak. People don't really care about Elon, because usually we get like 70, 80, 90, 100,000 views, but people really didn't care about this. But this is important because we have someone that's making a lot of moves. Yeah, we do. We love them. Thank you. One more, and we're going to sign out of here. There's 50 people in here. I know, you all not going to hit the like, but thank you, those who will hit it, and we do appreciate it. But we're going to sign off. There we go. Thank you so much. We're going to probably try to jump back on a little bit later on because we want to talk about Zelensky. We got to talk about Zelensky. Okay. Thanks, guys. Bye.